The forest was thick with an eerie stillness, the kind that presses on the chest and turns every shadow into a looming threat. Deep inside its tangled heart, the monstrous creature sat, gnawing at the remains of a long-forgotten meal. But just as it settled feet, an unfamiliar scent pierced the darkness, a faint whiff, strangely human, teasing its senses. The monster froze. Its sharp instincts told it that this was no ordinary aroma. Perhaps it was a trick, a hallucination. Still, curiosity gnawed at it more fiercely than hunger. It continued eating, yet the scent persisted, subtle but undeniable, swirling through the cold, damp air like a ghost. Somewhere in the shadows, Danby's sleep was broken. A chill of concern ran through her as her thoughts immediately turned to Jerul. The forest was dangerous and the night was deep. If the monster had caught wind of him, the consequences could be fatal. She rose cautiously, heart pounding, her senses on high alert. Her eyes scanned the darkness, searching for any sign of the lurking horror. But the cave, once a sanctuary, now felt alive with menace. Jerul was nowhere in sight. Driven by an instinct she couldn't ignore, she moved silently, her footsteps barely brushing the forest floor, toward the very place where she knew danger awaited. Every step closer to Jerul brought her to a clearing where the monster prowled. Its massive frame loomed between her and the faint outline of the cave. Panic clenched her stomach, but she forced herself forward, every nerve screaming. She knew the monster had smelled Jerul. She had to act fast. Timing was everything. If she delayed, it would discover them both. Danby crept to the back of the cave, her mind racing, plotting a desperate rescue. With meticulous care, she lifted Jerul's unconscious body, moving it with a strength born of fear and love. The monster's footsteps echoed nearby, heavy and threatening, yet the scent that had drawn it closer began to waver. Perhaps, she thought, it now suspected a rival in the shadows. Acting on instinct, she smeared Jerul with mud and hidden him inside the skeletal remains of a long-dead cow she found nearby. In a flurry of motion, she buried the bones in a shallow pit, concealing him entirely. Her hands and clothes were smeared with dirt, but she ignored it, her only thought being his safety. The monster, growing frustrated, tore at the cave walls, its rage echoing like thunder. Danby, unseen, slipped away, returning to the safety of her hidden vantage point. The creature, consumed by its own confusion, eventually retreated. Exhausted and trembling, Danby allowed herself a moment to breathe. She had saved Jerul, but the night was far from over. As the first light of dawn filtered through the trees, a tense calm settled. Danby shed her monstrous guise, returning to the form of a young girl, 16 years old, and moved quickly through the forest. She freed Jerul from his earthen tomb and washed away the grime of the night. His awakening was a mixture of relief and sorrow. He saw her, yet the weight of the horrors he had endured made him silent, distant. His eyes, once filled with life, now mirrored the numbness of a man who had been robbed of his own humanity. Jerul's mind replayed every memory of the forest, his flight from his own village, the betrayal he had faced, the relentless monster that had stalked him. He felt like a broken vessel, alive but not fully human anymore. Danby, seeing his pain, felt her heart constrict. She held him, soothing, explaining, recounting every detail of her daring night. Her love for him shone through her tears, unwavering and fierce. She spoke of the monster's cunning, her fear, and the lengths she had gone to protect him. Each word was a lifeline pulling him back from despair. Jerul's walls began to crumble. He shared his own grief, the unjust accusation that had forced him to flee, the scorn of his village, and the betrayal of those who should have protected him. Danby listened quietly, her presence a steady anchor. The shared pain drew them closer, binding them in unspoken resolve. Their escape plan formed in whispers. They could not remain in the forest, not while the monster roamed freely. They had to leave, to find a place beyond the monster's reach, a sanctuary where they could live without fear. Jarul, still haunted by past traumas, hesitated. The forest had marked him in ways that made him feel more like an object than a man. But with Danby by his side, hope glimmered, fragile but real. The monster, meanwhile, continued to search the forest, unaware that its prey had escaped its grasp. Danby had expertly used its own instincts against it, creating diversions, leading it to believe that Jarul was still hidden within reach. The creature prowled, frustrated and cunning, yet blind to the truth. The boy it had hunted was gone. As they approached the village, the first rays of sunlight revealed the familiar landscape. Anxiety and hope mingled as they neared the boundary. Villagers glimpsed Jarul and Danby, astonished at their safe return. Recognition, shock, and joy rippled through the crowd. Jarul's father, who had long grieved the loss of his son and the perceived betrayal, fell to his knees, embracing him with tears of relief. Danby's mysterious, otherworldly beauty captivated the villagers, though none could guess the true nature hidden behind her calm exterior. The court of the village convened to resolve the injustices that had led to Jarul's exile. Mohini, the woman responsible for the false accusations, faced the weight of truth. Her guilt was laid bare before all, exposing the lies that had torn the young man's life apart. The villagers' judgment was just, restoring honor and peace to Jarul and his family. Even after the legal matters were settled, a lingering tension remained. Danby, who had walked among the villagers as an ordinary woman, occasionally exhibited flashes of her supernatural essence, a subtle glow in the dark, a presence that hinted at powers unseen. The villagers whispered, unsure of what she truly was, human, something else, or both. Meanwhile, the monster, thwarted and angry, had retreated deeper into the forest, its senses still haunted by the disruption caused by Danby's clever maneuvers. It had learned that there were forces in the forest it could not easily overcome, and that cunning and courage could outwit even the fiercest predator. Jarul and Danby, hand in hand, moved forward together, leaving behind the dark forest and the shadow of the monster. The path was uncertain, but their resolve was strong. Each step away from the horrors of the past strengthened their bond. Jarul, once broken and hunted, now had a protector, a companion, and a new hope. Danby's quiet strength and unwavering love promised that no matter what dangers lingered in the shadows, they would face them together. Though the forest remained, with its shadows, dangers, and secrets, the tale of that night had come to an end, for now. The villagers would speak of it for years, of the boy unjustly accused, the brave girl who defied a monster, and the night when cunning, courage, and love triumphed over darkness. Yet beneath the surface, the forest held its breath, for in its depths, not all horrors were gone, and the unseen still watched, waiting for the next moment when fear might rise again. Even as peace settled on the village, a quiet unease lingered. Danby's presence was a secret power that neither the villagers nor the monster could fully comprehend. Sometimes, when the wind shifted and the night grew silent, the air seemed charged with something beyond human understanding. The glow of her eyes in darkness, fleeting and mysterious, reminded everyone that some forces are neither entirely good nor evil, but balance of both. And in this balance lay the suspense, the thrill, and the unending watchfulness that kept the forest and the village alive with tension. The story ends with a quiet promise. Love and bravery can defy even the most terrifying monsters, but vigilance is eternal. The forest keeps its secrets, the monster waits, and the courage of two hearts remains a beacon in the dark, unyielding and undimmed by fear.